श्रीवर्धनं गुरुवारुकमिव वन्दना शांति शांति शांति। ओम असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय। ओम शांति शांति शांति। Om, lead us thou, O God, from unreal to the real, from darkness to light, from death to immortality. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Namaste.
Welcome to Yoga for Health, Happiness, and Liberation. I'm Meeta Gajjar, and this is my father, Bharat Gajjar. We're so happy you could join us. Today we'll be doing our fourth show on Lord Buddha. I'd like to start by reading something. It's called the sweeping technique. Lord Buddha says, sweeping is a technique in which a student learns how to feel his entire body in one breath. Breathing in, you feel the entire body. Breathing out, you feel the entire body. This happens only when the body dissolves. Then, as you breathe out, you feel from your head to your toe. As you breathe in, you feel from your feet to your head. This is sweeping. When emotions are dissolved at the mental level and the solidity of the body is dissolved at the material level, nothing remains but a mass of vibration, a mass of energy moving in the body. However, certain sanskars remain impurities of the past lives. Sweeping makes some sanskars come to the surface. They cause a heaviness of the body again. Just observe them, and also subsequently by meditating they dissolve and you again get a free flow. This way you eradicate your suffering. Sweeping technique, just observe the breath coming and going at the entrance of your nostrils. Now I'd like to read something from this book, Buddha's Daily Reading. It's the April 23rd reading. Thus I have heard the Lord was staying near Rajagratha in the bamboo grove. The wanderer Patali's son one day approached the venerable Samadhi and asked a question concerning action. I have myself heard from the good Gautam, that's Lord Buddha, that physical and verbal action are foolish and that only mental action is truth. When one has intentionally done a deed by body, speech, and mind, what does one experience? Samadhi protested that the Lord would not have taught that physical and verbal action are foolish and that only mental action is truth, and replied, when one has intentionally done a deed by body, speech, and mind, one experiences sorrow. Samadhi reported the matter to Ananda, and together they went to the Lord and placed the matter before him. As he did not approve of Samadhi's answer, the Lord said, his question, the proper answer would have been, if one does a deed with the body, speech, or mind, with the intention of experiencing pleasure or pain or both, one experiences pleasure or pain or both. But I shall explain the whole thing. Please listen. There are some individuals here who are violent, who steal, who are immoral, and who are untruthful and wicked in speech, and they hold a false view. On dying, here they go to a bad destiny. There are some others who are violent and so on, but on dying here they go to a heaven world. There are some individuals who refrain from violence and so on, who hold the right view. On dying here they go to the heaven world. There are some others who refrain from violence and so on, and who hold the right view on dying. They go to a bad destiny. Hence, if someone were to say that everyone who is violent and so on, and who holds a wrong view goes to hell, and that this view alone is right and all else is false, I would not allow it. If someone were to say that everyone who is not violent and so on and holds the right view goes to the heaven world, and that this view alone is right and all else is false, I would not allow it. But if one were to say the individual who was violent and so on has reached a bad destiny on dying, I would allow that. If one were to say the individual who was not violent and so on has reached the heaven world on dying here, I would allow that. But if someone were to say that his knowledge alone is correct and all else is wrong, and obstinately stuck to his point of view, I would not allow it. For the Tathagratas, that's Lord Buddha's knowledge of the great analysis of karma, is otherwise. There are individuals who were violent and so on, who have arisen in the heaven world on dying here, because they had done some good deeds earlier or later, and on dying they adopted and held firmly to the right view. Others who were not violent and so on have had a bad destiny because they had done some evil deeds earlier or later, and on dying adopted and held firmly to the wrong views. Thus, Ananda, there is action which is inappropriate and appears to be inoperative. Too, there is action which is inoperative, though apparently operative. There is action which is operative, though appearing to be inoperative. And there is action which appears to be operative and is operative. Operative which has to bear fruit bound to happen.
Thank you, Meeta. I think that in conclusion, you have to do the right thing, but your views has to be proper. If you have wrong ideas, if you are wicked in your mind, you're bound to go into wrong direction. So meditation is very essential, that push you in the right direction and eliminates these wrong ideas. So, of course, you have to do the right thing, right action, and right views. Because if you do right thing with wrong, if you have wrong views, it is not a good thing to do. Now today we will discuss one of the most important segment of this meditation which Lord Buddha has taught. So I will take this opportunity to show you. Okay, you can see this chart. Lord Buddha said, by reason and cause, awareness arises and ceases. By training, ideas arise, and by training, they cease. The following are the ways one enters into the first meditation, the second, third, and the fourth stages of meditation. So let's look into our first. First says clearly there are, to enter into the first meditation, you have to abandon certain things. You have to do train yourself, or do the sadhana, means spiritual practice, and then you have to train to arise, and then train to stop or ceases. So these are the four things you got to do to enter into the first stage of meditation. First, abandon. First, you have to start desire. Too many desires, you cannot go into meditation. So you have to learn to stop desires. And then ill will. Now that is what Meeta was reading just now, that wrong ideas to hurt somebody, to kill somebody, that is itself is a violent action, because you are willing, you are thinking improperly. Laziness, the biggest problem is laziness. Worry, don't worry. He says these are the obstacles, drop those things and down. So develop faith. These are the things you have to drop. And then what do you do to go to do right sadhana? Self-restraint. That's the first step of meditation. Stop doing the wrong thing. And then mindfulness of awareness. Be aware, because that is light. Darkness means ignorance and looking for nothing, just darkness. So to go into light, to higher consciousness, mindful, be very aware who you are and what are you doing. Be aware, because that is the intelligence, and many animals don't have. Human beings have that. So bring the mindfulness. This next thing arise, that will bring, by doing so, you will have joy and peace. Once you have that, evil thoughts will stop. Evil things will disappear or go away from. That's the first stage, and that will take you to the first stage of meditation. If somebody comes to the first stage, you do not need to go second stage. You are joy and peace. That is the most wonderful thing. Because in life, if you do not have the joy and then you do not have the peace, you cannot experience love. To experience love, you must have this joy. When you get up, you are joyful. And that is the first stage of meditation. Now let's look into what Lord Buddha says. To go into second stage, what you have to do. Reasoning. Stop. Too much reasoning, constant thinking, this is right, and investigating. Stop that. Have faith and go forward, because all your doubts is going to stop everything. So drop that. And then bring detachment from too much material things. Negativity, detachment, and concentration. That's the first stage. Bring that concentration, and what shall you get? You will subtle awareness of joy and peace. You will go subtle joy and peace, not the gross, subtle, innermost peace, innermost joy, and then peace, and then drop the gross joy and peace. So that drops, and you are going much deeper in your inner self, and you are experiencing joy and peace, much deeper level of the soul level. From the mind level, you are going into a subtle joy and peace, inner self, where your heart is, your soul is. So that takes you to the second stage. Then Lord Buddha says, go to the third stage. What do you have to do? Drop your body and mind consciousness. Drop it. Just drop those consciousness and concentrate again on oneness. Just bring the peace, and then what will happen? Joy and peace will drop, and what will arise? The bliss. Bliss will come, and equilibrium will come. Balance. You will feel absolutely balanced. Now that is a very high stage of being, because you are full of love, full of, you know yourself, you know, and you are going forward. So this is a very high stage of meditation. Now, that will lead you to the third stage of meditation. Now let's do the last one, but there is one more. Last one, the world. Now you go into higher, drop the world completely. Drop the world. And what do you practice? Contemplation on peace is space is infinite. Go into cosmic conscious level. And then what will drop? Bliss and equilibrium will drop. And what shall we get? Absence of pain and pleasure. You are going beyond. at peace, beyond pain and pleasure. You are going. So then you are entering into the fourth stage. There are 4 stages, but Lord Buddha says, what is one more? The final, where he entered for enlightenment. What did he do? He says, drop yourself, ego, completely drop. And then, and what do you practice? Contemplation on nothing. You don't know anything. Just as you enter into oneness, everything becomes one. You are no more you. You are Brahman. You are part of God. You are it. There is only one eternal being. And you have become enlightened being. That is what Lord Buddha achieved. And then what will drop? Self. What remains? Zero. What have you come? Unreality of all objects. Everything you see is not real. So what is real? The self, the Lord. That is the only thing left. And then you have become that. So this is Lord Buddha's teaching. And Meeta, would you read that bottom line?
Now he goes beyond even that state and realizes that all his asava, desires, have been destroyed. Mindful, he emerges from that attainment. He is not attracted to anything, nor is he repelled by anything. He is free and independent. He dwells with the mind unconditionally. He knows there is nothing beyond this. It's from Buddha's daily reading.
This is what Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. This is Lord Jesus' real teaching. That was his real teaching. He said, completely, at one level, you become just one with the Father. So understand that this is the real meditation. But you have to start from the stage 1, then stage 2, then stage 3, and stage 4. So there are those stages, but start from step 1. To go 1,000 miles, the first step is as important as the last one. Important thing is you start. And if you know which direction you are going, you are on the right track. And what Meeta was reading, that right thinking, compassionate being. Lord